going to talk about how we're creating democracy, and I'm going to talk about the importance of education in the modern world. But before I'm going to go to these 2 points, I'll have 3 points of rebuttal. So, first of all, what we're saying, and this is our basic line, this is what we're saying here in the proposition. We're saying that if a country had a revolution, and now they're screaming that they want democracy, until they have the basic standard minimum education, that all the stuff that's saying in the motion, until they have that, they are not a democracy. The world doesn't see them as a democracy, and they themselves should not see them as a democracy. Second thing, if we see a country that today looks like a democracy and quacks like a democracy and everything is okay by that, but don't have that education, we do not see that as a democracy. So even when we have that revolution, and I will talk about it more in my first point, but even when we have that revolution, and it looks like they're going in the right way for democracy, until they have that education, they're not a democracy. This is what we believe in, this is what we're standing for. Now the right page. Okay, so second thing, what we heard from Hadar is how we don't need education, because the education that we get today, thank you, is from the education that of the ruling class, of the government, doesn't teach you how to criticize, teach you how to be an obedient citizen. What we're saying, it's actually not true for 3 reasons. First of all, when I learn how to read and write, I'm pretty sure most countries teach you all the letters. So it's not I'm missing anything there. I will know how to read and write, and we're saying reading and writing as a crucial point for me to be able to read all those newspapers in the media that we heard from Hadar. If I can't read, I won't be able to read anything. I won't be able to understand what I'm seeing, because when there will be a headline on the TV, I wouldn't know what it says. Second thing, when she talked about how we learn about citizenship. So when I learn how a law is being passed, I know all the ways, all the steps on the way for the law to be passed, and I learn and I understand in what stages I can intervene when I don't agree. Because I know that it's different between countries, but I know that the first step is to have a pre-hearing in the parliament, and then I know that people can go there and ask questions, and I learn all the steps. So maybe they teach me that being obedient is good for your country, but they also teach me how what's the steps on the way, so I know where I can go inside. Now the third thing is, when we look at 400,000 people in Israel that went to demonstrate, even though they live in a country that does teach you how to be a Zionist, and does teach you all those things about how you're supposed to love your country, still they all knew to go out and demonstrate because they didn't agree with what's going on. So maybe the obedient teaching is not working that well. Now the last thing I want to say is about how she talked about universal standard and how it's relevant only for the West. So I'm going to talk about it more in my second point, but what we're saying is, she said that teachers will tell you that you need math in order to use computers. Well, this is obviously not true, because a lot of people flunk math and still do a great job with computers. But we're saying that in order for you to know math, when you know math, I can go and when I buy stuff, I can say, hey, this is 50% off. How much is 50% from 100? I'll know how much to pay. It's crucial stuff that you need for your life. Now, so it is relevant for everybody. And I didn't understand why that's so bad for a democracy, but it is relevant for everybody. Now, let me go to my point. No, thank you. So, what do we need to create a democracy? So, like I said at the beginning, and like we heard from Liraz at our definition at the beginning, we're saying that democracy is for the people, etc., etc., and we're talking about representative, 1 vote for every person, and that's excellent. What we're saying is, you have so many definitions for democracy, but we're seeing another rule that comes out from this definition, this really minimum definition of 1 vote for every person, is equality between each person. So we know that we won't, I'll take you in a minute, we know that people will be still rich and poor. We know that people will still be different from each other, but they still have to have that basic equality, that they all know to do the same thing. They all can start from the same point, just like we heard from Liraz. No, I'm going to take Uri in a minute. Now, if we see the people that are rousing in a revolution, we see them in Egypt, etc., that's excellent, and they're going in the right direction, and we applaud them. That's really good. But it wouldn't be a democracy if women couldn't go to the same school and women couldn't learn the same things, because then we are damaging, we are harming the principle of equality between each person. Because if I can go out of the street and vote because I can wear whatever I want, but this is of course a different subject, but if I don't have the equality, the minimum equality between people, so women can go out and vote, and maybe And when they don't know, and just like when I told you about how we need reading, writing, etc. in order to make the right decision, but it's not just the right decision for our society, it's the right decision for me. Because if I don't know the pamphlet of the party, if I don't know what they're saying, no thank you, if I don't know what they're saying, I wouldn't be able to choose the right thing for me, not because I think that, only because I think that the person that's speaking is really pretty, and that's all I can understand from what he's saying. Yes?
Right. No, the debate is not about how countries define democracy. The debate is Egypt better off with democracy without education and instability, or under the dictatorship? This is the debate. Your line is basically what is a better democracy.
Okay, no. We're saying that without education, without standard education, it's not a democracy. Because if people can't, don't start from the same point, if people can understand in the same basic level what's going on around them, it's not a democracy. It's still a dictatorship if I don't know how to read and write, and I can make a choice, and people will tell me the choice that I'm going to make. No, thank you. Now, when we're talking about importance of education in the modern world, we want the third world countries to integrate in our society. So when we heard from Hadal how she said that information and education is all relevant for the West, is actually saying we don't want those third world countries in our society. We think they can't even bother learn anything, so we don't want them in our society anyway. When we'll give them that basic education, when we'll not accept them as a democratic country until they have the basic education, we're saying we allow them to integrate into our society, because without knowing the basic math, like I told you, without knowing how to read and write your own language, and even more in our global world, without knowing basic English, you won't be able to prosper more and to fit into this modern world that we have today. So by saying that this is not a democracy, and we know how democracies love to cooperate with each other, so by saying that until you are a democracy, you wouldn't be able to cooperate with us, they'll have the more incentives to learn and to educate their citizens. So what we're saying is, even if we have a revolution, it's excellent and everything, we need the basic education in order to call that country democratic, because democracy means equality between all citizens, and minimum education is equality between people. For all those reasons, I beg you to propose.